Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive. Greetings dear ones, I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. And it seems like only a moment ago that I told you there would be changes in the room. And I feel them. The attribute of those from the other side of the veil is compassion. There are always questions, how do I know who's visiting me? I'm afraid of this or that. And when I channel and I open my mouth, what's going to happen? Do I allow any energy in the universe to pop in? And we say to you, oh, how 3D of you to think that the angels standing around you would ever let that happen. Protection, safety. If it's compassionate energy, it is from God. If it is not, it is from you. It's that simple. Do not envision in your mind a plethora of dark energies waiting to pounce upon you, for this is a man-made suggestion. You've humanized God so much that you're not even sure when Spirit takes your hand. Let tonight change that. To know that wherever you go, you could call it what you wish, but there is an entourage with you. So difficult for me to explain soul fragmentation, for it sounds like a negative thing and it's beautiful. There's always really three of you all the time with you, and it's you. One of them is the higher self, which is you. How do you explain the higher self? What would you think it is? It is you. It is the higher part of you that vibrates higher. It is not above you, it is in you. And that higher vibrating you opens a portal that is literally a connection and a handshake to Spirit. And that's you. And so there's one. There's the conscious mind that you say is human and biological. There's two. How many do you need for a group? You see, there are things about the quantum you that you have barely got into, including the field around you, 8 meters wide. Amazing, a human being. This is given in love. And there is no fearful thing here. You sit in a safe place. The energy that is being visited upon this earth has been expected. The ancients predicted it, and we have given you recent channelings, even the channeling given in that country which you would call Peru, about the shift of what we would call the movement of the feathered serpent. There's an actual shift of polarity between the male and the female energy of the planet occurring. The northern hemisphere, which has always been masculine heavy, is changing. The southern hemisphere, which has not been biased in that way, is changing. The wisdom of the ancients in the southern hemisphere is beginning to replace the wisdom of the ancients in the north. And you're starting to see a softer human being. Spiritually, the old souls are alerted to this shift and are beginning biological changes. You expected it, and it's here. The process is one that is felt by the entire planet. Those disruptions you see in countries right now who have not had disruptions for hundreds of years are a result of this change. But this is what takes place when humanity begins to have more compassion, when they wish to unify more than separate. And new thoughts start to occur. The new consciousness creates new invention, higher science, higher thinking. Solutions to those things which you have called basic human problems. Population explosion, food, water, power generation, all of these things are going to change. There will be new thinking, new thought, new revelation in the next 2 generations, even some of it in the next 18 years. But a shift is occurring, and I won't tell you who's going to feel it first. It's those in the chairs, listening to my voice, who have been on this planet so many times that they are used to the old energy. Old soul, you're starting to remember. You're starting to remember what it used to be like and what it can be like. Old soul, you are beginning to recalibrate. And this is cellular change in 3D. These energy shifts we speak of, this is not New Age esoteric magic. You're going to see it in governments, in science. You're going to see it all over the planet as it begins to shift away from what anyone expected slowly. I've said it before, there'll be countries that have been in isolation for years that open their gates. Better take some pictures now, because it'll never be the same. And they'll join the rest of you, and their children will meet your children, and you'll realize you have things in common, and not what you've been told. The recalibration of the old soul is the subject of this and tomorrow's channel. And the channels will be similar. It is not a continuation. You don't need part A and part B. I'll give you everything today and everything tomorrow. I want you to know what you can expect and what some of you are already working. Recalibration. Your biology has to shift. It has to absorb and work with and be part of a softer energy. And if it's going to do that, there is a recalibration. Those who have studied the lattice, those who've studied the energies around things that are not called the lattice, but which are, know of calibration. And you know of the energies of balance that are required for a human to start changing themselves. You know about that which is body rejuvenation, mentioned even this day, of how cells divide, and how every single kind of cell in your body, including brain and heart and skin, duplicate. They are designed to regenerate. And if they're lost, they're designed to regenerate. And if they're damaged, they're designed to regenerate. Oh, I say it again, human, don't you find it odd that the starfish can grow back a limb and you can't? Don't you think that's odd? That a disease can start to change how a human thinks. And the scientists will tell you that their brain cells are starting to die or move or change or be poisoned. And they lose the memory of love. That's not how it's designed. Cells are designed to go back to the blueprint and create a new, fresh cell. That's how it's designed. And your science is going to see that. And your spiritual bodies are going to see that. And the ones who sit in the chair have got to recalibrate. The recalibration is automatic. You don't have to ask for it. Let me repeat that. It's going to happen because you're an old soul, because that's why you're here. You don't have to ask for it. But the recalibration is what you expected and what you're remembering, but maybe not what you expect. For it's uncomfortable. Now, some of you will know where this is going. When we start giving you the attributes that I would say are less than positive, that some of you will experience in recalibration. Now, this is some of you, not all. Every single human being has their own unique path. So they will experience it in their own way. So this is not a generic list of what is going to happen to old souls. These are potentials given of many symptoms of recalibration to the old soul who is here and ready to move forward on this planet. Some of you will have dizziness. It's an attribute of recalibration. That's all it is. And it will pass. But it's worrisome. For those who will become dizzy, will also become disoriented. And that might even cause a fall. So what do you do with this knowledge? Number one, you know you're not catching a disease. Number two, walk more careful. Does that make sense to you? There are other things. You're going to have trouble sleeping. More trouble than you always have had. You're not going to have one awakening, you're going to have two. And here you are. Now some of you know what's going on. It's recalibration. And the first question the human asks is, how long will this occur? And the answer is, as long as it takes, O dense one. I think you get the idea. The recalibration will take place as long as it takes. And if you fight it, worse, if you drug yourself against it, it's just going to keep happening. Celebrate it. Move forward with it. Tell your cellular structure you understand and move with it, not against it. This will quicken it, and it will pass even sooner. Every single biology in the room is different. And now we bring up something that we have not brought up for some time, but you need to hear it. What works for you in health is based almost completely and totally upon your Akashic record. Where did you spend the most lifetimes? Perhaps it's in the Orient. Perhaps it's in India or Tibet. Perhaps it's in the Southern Hemisphere. And each of those places and cultures will have had different food that worked to keep you healthy. And here you are, in the Northern Hemisphere, in this lifetime, perhaps one in the past and the one even in the past, where you tend to inherit yourselves in karmic groups. But you are still influenced by the kind of diet that you used to have. And so then there will be vegans. And it'll work for those who need that for their Akash. Do you understand? There are others who are not, who come mainly from North America, from Europe, who never had those diets. They won't have any trouble at all. There is no one generic answer of what you should eat. There are no shoulds. What you do is intuitively go inside and find out what it is that is the most healthy thing to your body. Now, why do I mention this? Because you're going to get advice from people on what to eat to correct what's wrong with you. And I'm going to tell you right now, ignore them. And instead go inside and let your Akashic record tell you what is going to work for you. Don't be surprised if some of you come up allergic to some things you've always eaten. And it'll be a first, and I will tell you, it's recalibrating. It may be necessary for you to move forward, for you to mine that part of your Akash which had the most wisdom, shaman, And you may not like some processed food because you're not used to it in the Akash, are you? Do you see what I'm saying? If you're going to pull that up, if you're going to pull the shamanic energy up from the depths of the wisdom that you have learned and walked through over and over, some things are going to come with it and you're going to deal with them. And part of it is diet. Expect these things. They're there for you to see. And see them for what they are. Dear Spirit, you might say, thank you for this recalibration. For caring enough about me to know that this is where I want to go and what I want to do. Human being, how you recalibrate now, you will come back in the next life. You won't have to go through it again. There is something called Akashic inheritance. Who you are is not simply the genealogy of those human beings you've come from. You know this. There is an inherited Akash. And so you come in with those things that you've experienced in all the lifetimes, regardless of the parents. And they're sometimes the heaviest things that you have to deal with. And the ones in the chairs listening to my voice are beginning to deal with them. And that is the other thing. Expect these things to come forward. Maybe you haven't done very well with a life lesson the last few times, and this one you better. Because the earth needs you. And it doesn't need you encumbered with fear. It needs you to say to yourselves, I accept this recalibration. No matter what is in my body at this moment, it can be gone. If it's inappropriate, it should be gone. I stand as a piece of divinity on this planet. Wise, appropriate, I belong here, this is my time. Cellular structure, listen. If there's anything inappropriate, it should be gone. Let it wash away with the waste. Let it go out because it is not seen as appropriate, it is not commensurate to the energy of the love of God. Let only compassionate things enter my consciousness. And that's going to be hard for some of you. So now let's look at those things which you can expect. Physically, it will not be as hard. Number one, you are going to be able to deal with even the worst habits that you have ever had in your life and get rid of them very quickly. It is a new energy of cooperation with the energy of the light worker. Did you get that? Oh, let us pause, please, and take just a moment for a deep breath. For I am dealing with those listening to my voice who have gone through thousands of years of persecution, suffering, torture. There are those who have been burned at the stake. And this is because the energy that you brought into the earth was not beginning to match at all what the earth was. Holy men and women asked to heal somebody one moment and then go to the edge of the village and jump off a cliff the next. And you're here. And you've come back. Now suddenly this planet is starting to move so that all of the things that you have brought to this planet in experience start to cooperate. Oh, take a deep breath. For manifestation begins. Not immediately, not today, not this hour, but so slowly. This quantum clock starts to move in your direction. The earth is receiving a more gentle, passionate energy. That is what you were born with. That's the tool that you have. And in the past, this has been seen as odd and strange. You've been ostracized. Some of you have been cast out of your family. I know who's here. And I'm telling you that even they may look at you differently. And see how you've started to become softer, not even knowing it's them. Things are going to work. You have a habit you'd like to break. Is it the way you think? Is it the way you eat? Is it what you put into your body? Is it what you smoke? Is it killing you? And you know it. And you know who I'm talking to. Would you like to change it? And now I will tell you that what you do in this energy is going to respond so differently, even if you tried it before. Not one of you is allowed to say, old soul, wise one. You're not allowed to say, I tried that and it didn't work. That will be a child talking who doesn't know how things work. Instead, you're going to say, this time, I know better. I will manifest it because the body is listening. And that's what the new energy brings. Cooperation. Things are going to go better and flow better. They're going to move forward instead of back. When you put out the word of what you wish to have in your life, and the process begins, many of you are going to start seeing a positive return right away. Synchronicity is the key. Put yourself in places to have those things take place. Do not try to manifest something and then go into the closet and wait for it. Instead, put yourself in places where you would expect it to manifest. Do you understand? And that is where the answers will be, because there are others walking around with your solution. They're looking for you. Don't sequester. And in a recalibration mode, there's a tendency to sequester because you don't feel quite right. You're going to catch more colds. Why would that be? And then you're going to heal them quick. And why would that be? It has always been a recalibration of the biological process to catch a cold, and that is why you cannot cure it. It is a cyclical opportunity for the immune system to correct itself. Perhaps you didn't know that. And that's why you're not going to receive the biology to cure the common cold. It is a recalibrating device. You need to go there and to build up the system in a certain way. And there's many of these kinds of things. Well, one of them right now is about recalibrating. Don't be shocked when you catch one. And you'll say, well, I didn't think that would happen because I just got through with the other one. It's recalibration. These are the kinds of things we wanted to bring to you, so that you will know what is taking place and not fear it. So many things. There are many positive things. This truly is an energy that is occurring, that is turning the corner, that supports the light worker. But actually supports the light worker. There is no more upstream swim. Now all of you are different. But I know who you are. Commitment is the key. You cannot do any of these things casually. But you knew that, didn't you? That when you commit to the manifestation of what you need in your life, the universe is listening. When you receive messages from my side of the veil, I will tell you something that you already may know. We do not have a clock. So I speak to you in the now. I see the energy in the room. I see who is here. I see the old soul. I speak to you in the now. Now that's up to you what your clock does and how long it takes in your reality. In my reality, it's already done. Can you see that way? Can you walk out of here with it already done? There's energy in this room that is infusing itself right now into the places it needs to go. Spiritually, what can you expect? This recalibration is about being able to stay on this planet in health and in happiness without drama or fear. And that is what the old soul remembers. My partner in his ignorance, standing there and saying he has no idea why there are self-worth issues with old souls. I'll tell you why. Because for hundreds of years you've been beat up. And every time you move 2 steps forward, you're beat back 1. Sometimes 5. And you come into this life expecting what? Very little. For some of you even start a project, you have the little voice that says, oh, I knew that would happen. You don't expect much, do you? And that's because in an older energy, everything you did was met with resistance. Everything. Every time you wanted to make a positive suggestion about something that might help, get lost. Every time you saw spiritual wisdom in a complicated problem, they weren't interested. Until the time when you realized you were isolated over and over and over and over and over. And now we are saying this is changing. So spiritually, you are going to have to love yourself more. And that is your opportunity, because there is a universe inside of you called cellular structure with trillions of pieces of DNA all ready for your instruction sets to be given. And their hand is out, you might say, and they're saying, okay, you're the boss. Well, what are we going to do? Self-worth is a program. It's a program. It's information developed from experience. And it's information and it's a program. And you can unprogram it. All you have to do is tell your cells what you want. Dear cellular structure, you might say, I deserve to be here. This is my time. I have things that others want. This is my time. I'm important in the scheme of the earth. I have earned my stripes. This is my time. Dear cellular structure, get rid of inappropriate emotional issues that keep me from moving forward into my beauty and power. And the power that I speak of is that ability to create compassion and light everywhere I go. Recalibration. It's going to have that which is challenging and that which is beautiful. What's it going to be feeling like to you to suddenly become more enlightened, have more information, feel you're much more part of God with a cold? Falling over sometimes. And you have to laugh. Biology is this way. It takes a while for the shift. And so months, perhaps more, while you deal with the issues and you deal with them, you know what they are. And you know why they are. And at the same time, you're sitting and celebrating that which is in you, which is more compassionate, that starts to work around your life. Things are going to work better. Now that is assuming you get this message and want them to, for the human being is king when it comes to creation. That is to say, your free will is what's going to happen. If you ignore the message, very little will happen. You're still an old soul, and you have free choice. Finally, I give you one of the common questions about this recalibration. The earth energy, Kryon, you say, is shifting. That means all humanity is going to feel it. Yes. All humanity will feel it. And you're going to see it in the way governments come down and are formed. You're going to see it in different thinking. You're going to see it in the ways my partner has told you are possible, that I have channeled, thinking differently. Old energy regimes not renewing themselves, but deciding to change. Cooperation and unity over the next 2 generations, starting to become the norm. A time where you will look back on today and say, we were barbarians. That's a change. I am on my side of the veil in the now. I have no clock to give you here. I am just telling you this is what I see. I see a healed planet eventually with new science. I see a planet where there is no permanent disease, where clean water is never an issue, where all have electricity and it's easy and it's inexpensive, where you can heat your homes easily. These are all of the things that are in the strongest potentials. And I cannot give you a clock. What I can tell you is that Earth recalibrates itself, and there are going to be issues. Some of them political, some worse, in the recalibration program. And the Earth will feel it now. Will everyone become enlightened? No. You represent less than 0.5% of the human population, old souls, and you are going to strike the match. And we've told you this before. You become the match bearer in the dark when a few light all can see. That's your job. Only it just got easier. I speak in the now. I cannot give you a clock. Please understand the wisdom of this as you leave the room. See the potential. And if things don't happen tomorrow, human being, in your quick turnaround consciousness, don't be angry. God has patience. You've had patience. Isn't it worth it, having lived all these lives, to now come and give this one a chance? There are those in this room who wonder how long they're going to live because of what's going on right now. You know who I'm talking to. So I will tell you the potential that I see is a very long life. And you might say to me, yeah, but. And that is the old energy speaking to you. Recalibrate. And start seeing what is possible. Finally, this. The more science takes a look at atomic structure, in the most small, and when they look at the universe in the most large, they see a commonality. They're starting to see that there is no randomness. That in the very small and the very large, they're looking at intelligent design. And so this means that in these places, which you call creation, that the very way things came together were biased for life. They're biased for compassion. It is the handiwork of God. And as you turn inward and start to deal with yourselves, I want you to see the same thing. It's about time you understand you are not random. Your life is not random. Things don't happen to you random. They happen to you in a way that you create. And that is the lesson of all humanity eventually. To create a healed earth, to create a peaceful one, to go places you never dreamed you would go. This is the beginning. I have no clock. But I have potentials, and that is what I give you, and that is what my partner sits in the chair and gives you. The potentials that we see, grander than they were last year, if the light workers will recalibrate easily. Don't fight it. So you leave this place, and life returns to normal. And the routine is the routine. And you might look back upon these few minutes we've had together and say, I wish I could do those things, and never realizing that you are. What happens in a multidimensional state has to do with consciousness, out of time and space. Just walking on the planet, holding the light, creates energy that you did not know you had. That's why we want you to stay in health, without drama or fear. So assign a goal if you wish, because humans love to do that. But let me tell you this, there are many of you already achieving it. Just by being alive and having compassion for others around you. Some of you in the room are teachers, some are channelers, some are healers. Some are not interested. And I know who they are as well, and they will have just as many angels walk out with them as you do. There is no judgment here. We stand on a precipice of potential that I came here for. That's why Kryon is here, to help you across this bridge. Congratulations for making it this far. The old energy will fight back. Expect it, and expect to win. And you will. And you will. For now, in 2012, is the beginning of you having the upper hand. And that is it.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. The process seems like a smooth one. My partner does not prepare for channeling. And that is because some time ago, I gave him the information that at the cellular structure he could always be prepared. In his daily life as he walked around, that which he calls channeling, which is connection to the higher self, could be with him 24/7. There are those who would see the process and say it is not accurate and is not true because the channeler doesn't prepare. He doesn't face the right direction, he doesn't breathe correctly, he doesn't give time for the negativity to move away. And I will tell you that all of those things were accurate at one time, but now they're not. The paradigm of energy is changing. The relationship between you and the Creator is changing. This is something that has happened only because of what humanity has done. I want to review yet again for those who perhaps are just listening to this at the same or first time. My partner doesn't understand this, but I see those who are listening for the first time. It's not in your time. Dear ones, in an energy that we come with and from, there is no time. We see that which is potential. We see those who are listening for the first time. For you, it would be later. For me, it is now. I see you there, dear one. The energy of this planet has changed greatly in the last decade. Energy changes slowly. Civilization of humanity still has complete and total free choice. The speed at which things occur will be completely and totally dependent on the free choice of the individuals, both light and dark. One of the attributes we have told you before is that the old souls, if they go into fear and despondency, it's going to take a lot longer. But it's still going to turn around. There will be those who would listen to this perhaps 30 to 40 years from now. But this particular message will be indeed preserved in ways that you cannot even fathom at the moment. Some of you will carry it around inside you. I cannot even describe the way that will happen. And when you hear the words, then you will know I am correct, that things happen slowly, but they happen. Consciousness is starting to evolve. Now, one of the things we have told you about that is that consciousness is beginning to split. That is to say, the darks are becoming darker and the lights are becoming lighter. The line is being drawn in the sand of consciousness for this civilization and which side you're going to be on. And this has stirred up both sides, actually. Those who existed in the dark and forever controlled things out of sight and had many names that you called them and you knew about them. Illuminati was one. All of these kinds of things are coming to a close because there is light happening on the planet more than they thought. Literally conscious decisions of integrity starting to force them out of the place they have had for hundreds of years. They're fighting for their lives. And this is what you see on your news. Now, that's a review. It has to do with energy. So I want you to connect the dots as we give you this message and this channeling today, for we're going to do it methodically, showing you some things perhaps you had not thought of before. The question is this: does consciousness have energy? Do thoughts have energy? We have told you before they do. And there is a great deal of proof of this that you never even think of. Your best minds know that it is so, but cannot measure it. So the energy of consciousness becomes an elusive idea instead of a measurement in physics. We have also told you that there will come a day when you can totally measure this in physics and it will have mathematics involved. When you're able to see quantum fields, you will be able to see that which is invisible today. You do not know what you do not know. Consciousness has physics, energy that you can call upon and measure. And right now to you it's elusive how to do this. And I want you to connect the dots and listen. You experience it all the time, dear ones, all the time. When you sit down in a movie theater next to somebody and you feel something and you move. And someone will say, well, we were just sitting down, everything was fine, and you want to move? And you'll say, yes, because the stranger next to me is unbalanced or perhaps has a disease. I can't tell, I just don't feel right about it. And this has happened to many of you who are sensitive, and I ask you, what is it? There's an energy that was broadcast to your innate that said, move. And you did. This is energy. This is not something elusive that we can talk about. You moved because you felt something. That is very 3D. And you watched the film from another perspective. There are those in the room who have crashed their computer because they're having a bad day. And you know who I'm talking about. Now I'm going to ask you, how? Consciousness? Anger? Frustration? Disappointment? Fear? Created an energy that was so great and so dramatic that it actually upset the electronic path of circuitry. Make it worse, you turn it on again, it happened again. Some of you were so aware of it, you had to leave and come back. There are those, and I'm not going to name them, listening to this channel that are aware that they have actually put out light bulbs because of their thoughts. They didn't explode, they simply stopped. There are those in the room, including one who sits in the chair in front of you, who has an attribute who drains batteries. What is that? I want you to connect the dots. This is consciousness over matter. It is real. You can see it. You don't know what it is. You can't measure it. There's no way for you to prove it, because it only happens occasionally and when you don't expect it. But dear ones, this is a fact. You have seen it over and over. Your consciousness changes some physics. I'll hold that thought. I would like to discuss innate one more time. And what I wish to do now is to enhance what I have discussed already. Innate is the smart body of the human being. Every single human being has what we will call several layers of body consciousness. Now, at a human being working at approximately 34% of the DNA efficiency, there is a missing bridge, as we have told you, between your human consciousness and the innate inside you. Here's what we want to tell you and remind you about. That innate is responsible for that which is health inside you, spiritual evolution inside you. And you may tap, and you may decode, and you may muscle test in order to find out or to alter it, and it will be susceptible to all of those. But dear ones, you don't have the bridge. Not really. It's missing right now. And what this means, and we have not said before, is that innate is a closed system. It has no idea about the outside. It knows about the inside. Innate doesn't know who your friends are, doesn't know what you do for a living, doesn't understand, for instance, if you're in love or not, and what has happened with your chemistry. It simply reacts and helps. Innate is benevolent. I should say that 3 more times, just so you know. It stands there ready to help you. In whatever way, in whatever instructions you give, innate is there. But it is in the dark, in that it does not know what's on the outside. That is a human being who is not working at a good percentage, but that's who you are at the moment. Therefore, from From the very beginning, we have said, talk to yourselves. In the first messages of Kryon, we said, talk to yourselves. Because innate is listening to what you say. We gave the indication that there is energy when you speak out loud. This is a bridge you haven't thought of. The bridge is this. When you speak in the open air, your ears hear it. The vibrations in the air from your vocal cords, which is coming from your consciousness, and the statements thereof go into your brain. Now you're inside because you heard your own words. Inside your brain, that is where the blood is flowing. Innate is there, and it listens and it knows. Finally, communication. Talk to yourselves. Now, everything we've said so far, we've said before. Connect the dots to where we're going. Dear one, in this energy, everything is being amplified. The old soul is ripe for change. We have given you over and over messages about change. We've told you about the new normal. But now we're going to give you information about creating reality. Some of you have heard before the term, you can create your own reality. It's interesting what human beings do. There is full and complete belief that your thoughts can do something. And yet, you don't practice it. Now, in some ways, you do. Let me review one of the perceptions that you have. You'll get together and meditate. And often you will meditate for things about the planet. Creating love where there isn't. Some of you will actually go into prayer groups. And you will pray for those who are less fortunate. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you participate in any of this, let me ask you this question. What are you doing? Now, there are those who will say, well, we're beseeching God for intervention. Dear God, we need rain. Please do it for us. Dear God, those people need help. Please help them. This is an energy, dear one, that is a bit misdirected. Because inside you is God. What you're really doing when you do that is exercising your own creative power that you don't know you have to create synchronicity in places you may never visit. And this is the beauty of who you are. An old soul has so much power, and I'm going to use the word power. When two or more are gathered with this kind of power, you actually can skew the curve of reality in the areas that you're looking at and asking about, if you say it right. I give you a challenge. Have a prayer meeting where you verbalize affirmations that are positive together, verbally, and see what happens. And you don't pray, and you don't hope, and you don't wish, and you don't ask. Instead, you are, and it is. I am. The affirmations must be positive, and they must be as though they are already in place and you're stating that they are. You get together and you meditate to change the weather because you need rain. I want to tell you what the ancients have done. You've heard of the rain dances. And you will think, well, they're now praying to the rain god, whoever that is, to bring them rain. If you take a look at what they're doing, there's actually metaphors where it's already raining. And by the way, that's where the rain stick came from. Where they actually create the sound of rain because they know they are creating it. Because they are connected to the earth, and their ancestors are connected to the earth, and they are part of the system. They are entitled, therefore, to create the rain. They're not asking the gods for it. I didn't know if you knew that or not. It's time for you to rediscover some ancient information, and I'm now going to give it to you. It's the third point. It's the point that my partner was making on the screen today when I told him to pass up some of the information so we could give it to you more completely. Now, there are many listening to this, far more than those in the room, who have never been to a presentation of my partner's and do not know what we're going to talk about. So those in the room already have an inkling of what we're going to call busting the average. Dear ones, you live and die by the bell-shaped curve. In physics, you learn that there are ways that create average. When you roll dice, you get average. Human beings create average. In the bell-shaped curve, when you look at humanity, some will be very smart, some will not be, some will be average. As my partner said, and I'll use his terminology, if you had a curve of those who catch a certain disease, it'll be bell-shaped. The average number of people. Some will catch it all the time, some will never catch it, and there will be an average, the bell-shaped curve. It also is what you've been trained for. It also affects your thinking every single day. Now, I just got through telling you that innate is listening more now than ever before. I also got through telling you that innate is a closed system. It doesn't know about where you are or what you're doing, only that which is inside, and it listens for instructions. Now here is a missing piece that you need to know. Innate is also connected to the higher self in a very specific way, not completely, or it would know what was around you. But the creative source, the benevolence in the human body, is connected to innate. It is also connected to your consciousness in a way that gives you, are you ready, intuition. Therefore, what you say to innate will also control intuitive thought. Now listen, and this will start to make sense to you. Whatever you do in the world, wherever you go, you are structured by what you expect. And humanity expects average. How many of you have said, I knew that would happen? What have you just told innate? You don't have a chance. You're average. You knew it in advance, didn't you? That you couldn't make it. It wouldn't happen. I knew that would happen. That is a statement that goes right into your body. And trillions of times in your DNA, you can hear it over and over. He knew that would happen. She knew that would happen. What can we do so that it will never happen? Innate is not connected to what is happening on the outside. It wants to help you by what you state. You're looking for a job. There are other applicants. Too many. You've got a self-worth issue. You speak it out loud. I don't have much of a chance, but I'll try. Echoed millions of times. She doesn't have a chance, but she'll try. And you try and you don't make it. I knew that would happen. Now let me show you something. You can apply an energy of consciousness to the average curve and take it out of average, and others will call it being lucky. When you start affirming, I'm getting the job. I see myself there already. I am the job. Thank you, Spirit, for the job. Innate sees it and starts working with your intuition. And the intuition then creates synchronicity for you to be in the right place at the right time in order for things to happen. Perhaps not to get that job, but to get one that is even better you didn't even know existed. This is synchronicity, dear ones. Outside of the bell-shaped curve, outside of the average, you are really lucky. I just gave you the explanation of creating your own reality. And it has to do with what you speak out loud. Some of you have a habit of self-deprecation. Somebody gives you a gift. Oh, I didn't deserve it. Oh, thank you, but really you didn't have to. She doesn't deserve it. You didn't have to. Okay, nobody should give her a gift. Let's enhance that. She's not worthy. Okay, she's not worthy. Let's make her less worthy. She likes that. You think it's funny, don't you? My partner showed you the illustration of the hypochondriac who catches everything they're worried about. This is the innate working the best they can to interpret what a human being concentrates on. If you concentrate on disease, whether it's in fear or whatever, innate sees it as your desire and tries to give you what you're concentrating on. You watch the news. What are you concentrating on? Fear, worry, anxiety, because of what's happening on the planet. Let me give you an option, dear ones. If that's what happens to you and it affects you at all emotionally, if you have anything to say about it to others, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, you would be far better to turn it off. Turn it off. And then you would say, well, Kryon, then I would be misinformed. Not really. Dear ones, you carry light for this planet. And the very light that you carry for the planet is going to affect the news someday. And you don't have to tune in and worry about it and experience fear and shorten your life and tell innate that this is what you're worried about. Innate will help you create synchronicity. There are those in this room who did not plan on being here yesterday. I know who's here. And now you are. Maybe this was for you. You honored synchronicity and you came. There are those who decided at the last moment that they wanted to be here. And you're here. You are plugging into the system that we have described before that is not linear, not logical, and based only on intuition on which way to turn, left or right. When you start affirmations, when you start describing who you are in the terminology of the I am healthy. And people hear you say that and they say, well, wait a minute, you're not healthy. You got a disease. How can you say I am healthy? What you are doing is affirming the future. And Nate hears it and starts to work. The process of tapping, the process of decoding, the process of kinesiology and body talk are all ways of discussing what you are with innate. Not what you want, not what you wish for, but who you are. And these things then start to take hold and the chemistry of your body starts to shift. Your intuition starts to then shift to give you what you ask for. And it is unlimited in what you can do. Dear ones, how do I tell you this? You are not a slave to the bell-shaped curve. In gambling, you have the dice and you roll it and you look for chance and you look for the few times it's going to land correctly. If you apply that to this system, understand that the dice are you. You are in control of the dice. It's not for others, it's for you. You are enabled to change your dice. So load the dice so it'll always come up right. This is what we're talking about. How do you do it? Through conscious thought, through affirmations, through literally talking to yourselves, watching what you say. When you approach a situation, you're looking for a new place to live, and you see, against all odds, you can't afford this or whatever, what goes through your mind? What you've been taught, I'll never make it, I can't go there, I can't afford this. All of those things, innate hears. The synchronicity then, you don't have any because you gave up before you started. You're going to be average. It won't happen. Dear ones, I want to tell you, old souls have an advantage. You've been there and you've done that, and you're balanced enough to see what I'm talking about. I want you to start practicing this, and you'll see it works. Affirmations, especially that, speaking out loud who you are, not what you want, not what you wish for, who you are. I'm going to get this job. I am this job. It is me. Your innate hears it. The intuition starts to work. Now let us be clear, the intuition is a part of the higher self. It has a bigger picture. It knows what's around you. It steers you to the right place. Innate may not, but the higher self does, and they're connected. This is difficult. It is difficult because you want to compartmentalize everything. And there'll be questions later, yeah, but if this is this way, how does this know? You have to release this, dear ones. Outside of human linear logic, these things work. I close with this. God loves you. I think you know that. But you have free choice. You have free choice not to love God back. You have free choice to stay in your box and only love God through a straw. Create a little hole and let some of the love seep in while you stay in your box because you're a practical person. Or you can shatter the box completely and let God into your life. And when you do that, the peace of God that is yours and always was, the mastery within, comes alive. It starts to change a life completely automatically. We have discussed this perhaps too many times. But this is the way it works. You can control your reality by what you say and how you think. And when you do, dear human being, I promise you others will notice. They're stuck in average and you're not, then you become lucky. You get the parking spaces. You don't catch the diseases. You get the good jobs. Good things happen to you. I want to make this clear to anybody who's listening, that every single human being on the planet has this ability. You don't have to end up with humanity in a bell-shaped curve. The curve will look odd, but all of you can be in the 80%, even the 90%. This is your legacy. As humans on the planet, in an age where we are able to tell you, and you can hear it and act on it, you can change yourself. Don't buy in to being average. Don't buy in to the things that you don't expect because they won't happen because you knew that would happen. This is a different way of thinking, a different paradigm. Connect the dots. We just showed you that consciousness has power and its energy, so use it. Go use it. Let no one leave this room average, for you can control who you are. More than your legacy, you're right, and in an energy that is listening more than it ever has. Be careful what you say. Do you accidentally demean others? Sometimes when you're frustrated, do you complain? All of these things are heard by innate. It becomes who you are. And you become less than the mastery inside. This is the message for the evening, dear ones. It's a glorious message, enhancing the abilities and the splendor of the human consciousness which we see developing. There is hope over the horizon. Do not count the days, for that is not the plan. Every single day of your life, be 100%. That is the light that this planet needs now. I am Kryon, in love with humanity, and rightfully so. And so it is.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. And once again, my partner steps aside. We described it before, a process that honors the human being. A process which requires that the human being remain where he is and shares the experience so he will feel it and know it. But he removes himself from the three-dimensional portal of the pineal. For in the moments that this takes place, it is not a gland. It is a meta-dimensional, multi-dimensional, beyond-dimensional portal. And it allows that which is the creative source inside you to expand. It is channeling. It is available. Always has been. In this new energy, however, it is available for the new information, the new thought, in new processes which are coming your way. And before we begin the message, and anything that is going to be taught in any combination, I just want to take a moment. What is your perception of what's going on here? Is it possible that there is an intelligent source in your universe, in your galaxy, that has helped put together what you see here? Is it possible that there is a plan that is benevolent to the human being because the human being is part of that creative source? Is it possible that you're never alone? Now, we've said those words for many years. Is it possible that the family is a little different than you think? Maybe it's even larger than you think. Is it possible that the message I'm about to give you is accurate, true, and real from a source that we claim to be not from this body of this human being? It took him a long time to understand that there was no trick here. It took him a long time because the box he came out of said there would be. That the box said there are consequences for what you're doing. That God doesn't talk to humans this way. That it could be a trick. And that the darkness of the planet wishes to invade your soul. And he learned quickly that every single time he opened this gland and the pineal became the portal for the higher self, he got the love of God. That's all he got. And it's pure. The purest thing he has ever experienced. It is always the same. It has never tainted itself. It has never biased itself. It has never told a human to do something out of integrity. It is always congratulatory. More than benevolent. It's family. Never changing. 23 years. That's the way it should be, dear ones. And if you need some kind of proof that this is real, maybe, just maybe, you would open that part of your heart that you have the ability to open and say, I would like to feel something. I would like perhaps some validation within my cells that this is correct. And you would begin then to feel the chills that you can only get when you know the truth is being revealed. And the truth is, I know you. I know your lives. I know what you're going through. Oh, soul, you are known to me. We have done so much together. You have not seen my face or my name. I'm with you all the time. And when I say I mean the entourage, which is in that, which you would count them to be trillions, knowing who you are, standing with you in the hardest times you have, through the tears, through the sorrow, and celebrating in those moments where you choose to toast victory. And sometimes the victory is health, and sometimes the victory is solutions over problems you had for a lifetime. We know you are. You're never alone. There is a system that my partner has taught about for years. It's a system we have mentioned in countless channels. But we've never really dedicated a channel to this system in the way we're doing today. That includes the new energy of today, because this is a system most of you don't even know how to use. Some of you use it all the time. You just don't know what you're doing. It's not intuitive. It's going to be the truth about synchronicity, and we'll subtitle it The Demise of the Bell-Shaped Curve. When something happens to you that is good, your friends around you will say, what a lucky person you are. What are the chances that this would have happened to you? When you go into a difficult situation, and perhaps it's even something that is common to humanity and in your culture, like surgery, and you will come out with such marvelous results, and they'll say, well, this is beyond our expectations, and what lucky person you are. And then you do it over and over. Or you go someplace and you meet just the right person who knows somebody else who just has the right information, and you end up with exactly what you wanted. What are the chances, they'll say, of this taking place? What a lucky person you are. Because humans do not see the structure of synchronicity. They see a structure of planning, forward-looking. And that is the only way you can achieve things. And in that puzzle, they even will mention positive thought. But that still is planning in a linear fashion so that you will arrive at a goal. And no matter what kind of process you have studied that will get you from A to B, there's got to be a goal. And in some of those, you will take the goal and you will paste it upon the refrigerator so you'll see it every day. And this is a linear human being. What if I told you there is a process that is not linear, that has no goal at all? Not one in linearity, but one in conceptualism. A conceptual goal that says, dear God, put me in the right place. I don't know where it is. Dear God, when you do it, make it comfortable for me. Let me see the sense of it. Make it easy. And bring me the right situations to take me there. How about that? And if you told that to someone off the street, they would say, you must be New Age. For it is not logical. For you sit in a place where you're expecting God to do everything. No, you're not. And that is the subject of today. No, you're not. You are simply changing the box of belief to include something that is not in 3D, but that some of you have been using for a very long time. You're just not aware of it. So today's lecture, that's what we're calling it. My partner liked that. Is about the power of synchronicity, the truth about it. What it is, where it comes from, who's involved in it, and what you can do to promote it. The human being creates it in their belief, and that is how it starts. Now, this comes from my partner who loves to talk about the parking angel. Because this is the example he uses, so we'll do the same thing. Many light workers love to use that which they conceive as a special angel which has powers with cars. And that special angel will sit above the car, raise himself up, and see in a giant parking lot who is pulling out and where it's taking place. And you will assign your power to the parking angel, and you will find where somebody is pulling out, and it works. Now, this is not forward planning, is it? It is a different concept. It's a concept that you could place yourself, or an angel which becomes your eyes, far above the parking lot to see the parameters of the entire lot and what is going on with everyone at the same time. And if that were possible, then you, in 3D, could direct your automobile to the right aisle and the right place to find that space at the right time, especially if you're in a line with others, to arrive when somebody is pulling out. And it works. Over and over it works. It works because this is the definition of synchronicity. Not planning ahead, but a concept that you assign and believe in that requires an overview of a situation that you cannot have in 3D. Synchronicity. Now, I cannot close this parking angel attribute without giving you the rest of the story that my partner demands I give you. There is no such thing as the parking angel. It's you assigning your power to a mythological creature with a P on its chest. And humans are very good at this. They don't believe they can do it, but they believe angelic powers can do it. Therefore, they assign their power away. It's you doing it, dear one. It's you doing it. You just don't believe it. So here we are with the example. It's the same one we've given over and over, my partner has given, that I've encouraged him to give because it is the one that so many of you understand. Now let us put that in a larger capacity. The scale of life and living. Here you find yourself in a situation where you wish to move forward into an area you don't know about. All you want to do is park. And when you park, that is a metaphor for putting the vehicle of the human being in a place that is appropriate for your life, wherever that would be. It gets you there so you can move on with what you came for. That is the metaphor. Humans have an idea where that would be. It's normal for you to build goals. I want to write a book. I want to create a healing center. I have this. I want to have that. It is absolutely normal. The first question I have to ask you is, are you okay if it is not what you think? Is it okay if it's better? Is it okay if it matches the akash you came for? And the talents you have that perhaps you're not even aware of? Here's how it works. This is the how in 3D. You come to a meeting like this and you meet somebody for the first time. You didn't come with them. You meet them in a place in the back or in the bathroom. And you get to talking and you find out you have common interests. And then anything can happen. They have information you need. Or you have something they need. And you leave with a connection you didn't expect. And the connection leads to something else. For they know people that you don't know. Vice versa. You would call them, meet with them, if you wish. And here comes something that you didn't expect. You find yourself working in an area you didn't expect to work in, that fulfills a lot of the things that you wanted. Sometimes you come with no expectations at all, and you meet a partner of life. This happens over and over because you decided to come to where family is. Over and over, human beings have resigned themselves to being alone because nobody believes what they do. And they'll come to a meeting of like minds and find somebody that does. Life's changes, romance, synchronicity. They didn't plan it. You see the difference? The human who steps out of the door on the way to this meeting, what do? I'm getting ahead of myself. What do? It's going to be a good meeting. Let's give it energy. Let's show up. Let's have a good time. Let's leave. Or, dear Spirit, if I'm supposed to meet somebody, then let me have the wherewithal to at least look for it. Do you see the difference here? One is planning. One is expecting concepts that you cannot define. Concepts you cannot define, which would guide your life into a place you didn't expect. I am sitting in a room with old souls, and at least a quarter of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're here because of it. Somebody showed you something that turned you around. It made you look, didn't it? It didn't give you a doctrine, did it? It made you look. Can you put a price on that? It made you look into a place that said, am I divinely built? Could my biology have something bigger in it? Something called innate, which is intelligent and knows who I am and works with me when I ask it to. A consciousness within a consciousness. It would hook me up with synchronicity. Way beyond average. Way beyond the bell-shaped curve. So I just gave you the scenario that can happen over and over in meetings like this, in small gatherings, in large gatherings. I'll get to what was required in a minute. Now let us talk about how it works. And these are things that we have discussed seldom, and never in a package like this. And we've got to talk first about the majesty of the human being. It wasn't that long ago we gave you a channeling called the 9 energies of the human being. It's what I want my partner to begin teaching. It's esoteric, it's complex, it's time. And there are conceptual parts of the attributes that must be taught that go beyond what a human being is used to hearing, even in these meetings. And here is one of them. If it's true, dear one, that you are a part of the creative source, do you then logically understand that your soul, if you wish to call it that, is enormous and only a piece of it is inside your biology? If all of it were there, you'd vanish. You'd turn into light itself, more than the power of the masters of humans. You'd have that which Elijah and Elisha saw together and experienced. Vaporization of cellular structure because the power of God cannot live in a human being at full strength. Do you understand? And if you understand this, you will understand that you are only having a piece of what is you, that is the Creator, in your body. And so here is what begs another question. Where is the rest of it? It's with me. It's on the other side of the veil as part of the creative source. It never left. Now here is what is difficult in your box. You carry around a corporeal identity which is singular. We have said this before, and you're really not. You are part of a group which is God. A piece of you separates out and becomes corporeal. That's one body with one face and one, what you would call, life. This is how you see things. Now let me tell you, the truth is you are a multidimensional being, and part of you is on the other side of the veil, which you call God. Get used to it. It is not separated out. There's not a soul somewhere with your face on it on the other side of the veil. tapping its toe, waiting for the rest of it to come home. There are humans who believe this because all they can do is project their linearity onto the majesty of God. We've talked about that. So get used to the fact that there is a quantum God and a linear human being, and you cannot put them together easily. You're part of the soup, which is God. And that part looks down upon you and is always available. Always available. Just like the parking angel. It sees everything. Imagine a piece of you. Let's put it in your 3D. It's a spy in the sky. It looks at everything all the time. It knows who you are, everything about you, because it's part of you. It broadcasts information to you which you receive through intuitive thought. Are you here? Are you understanding? It gets you to get up and go places if you're listening. And here is what you need to know. Every single human being on the planet has it. Because every single human being is a part of the whole. You understand that? What happens, however, if there's a broadcast and 90% of the people don't have a radio? They don't get it. The broadcast is still there with their name on it. They don't have a radio because they don't believe it. Then here comes you. Some of you got your radio a long time ago, and some of you are just getting it now. You're believing it exists. The radio is the pineal gland that opens up into a multidimensional portal and tunes right in to that which is you. And that is hard for a human being to understand. And it guides you left and right. It knows who you are. It's benevolent. It's part of God. It's part of me. It's hard to explain. It's why it feels so good, dear ones. You ever wonder why it felt so good? It's you. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you're part of the creative source and you are quantum and multidimensional, it means that God has your face on it. And will never lead you into a place for other reasons other than benevolent and beautiful. And that's the system. Now let's come back to where were you when you decided to come to this meeting, and what was it about? Some of you are sitting here today and you didn't know about the meeting until the last minute. I want to tell you, you're tuned in. Your radio's working. Because the intuitiveness spoke to you enough for you to look someplace, do something, go somewhere, and find out this was happening. Now I'm going to ask a magic question. Don't feel too bad, but who haven't you met in the room? And that is a big one. You can't meet everyone, can you? Now, we're getting into the process of synchronicity. And the process is guided through intuitive thought, through what you call the innate intelligence of the body to be in the right place at the right time and talk to the right people. And you can't plan ahead for that, can you? You have got to be tuned to it. Some of you have. You've discovered things today here that will make a change in your life. You met others. It's what it's about. So when the human being says to you, you must be New Age, you just believe these things are going to happen. No, you don't believe that at all. You're going to work for it. You're going to fine-tune intuitive thought, listen to it as much as you can, that puts you in the right place at the right time. Dispelling the notion that a New Age person just sits at home doing nothing, waiting for God to speak to them. That is not the way it works. You stand up and you move around. You may go places that don't have anything for you at all. You just had to learn to use the intuition. Was it right? Was it not right? What does it feel like when it's right? What does it feel like when it's not right? Put that together. Pretty soon, like any other muscle in the body, it starts to work better for you. Innate works with you to fine-tune it. Then you can look around the room and say, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, yes. And know who you're supposed to talk to, perhaps who you're supposed to meet. Understand the family is one. But there are those within the family that have got something for you. They'll vibrate different because they do. You see it in their eyes. That is intuition at its best. But wait till you see it returned. When you look at somebody and they look back, and you can say, hello, old friend, it's good to see you. And you might hug for a moment or shake hands, depending upon the culture, and know that you've just met a best friend again. And they may have something, may not. It just may be for a moment, so you could intermingle in a quantum way and acknowledge the fact that you are old souls. And that's good enough. The hardest thing for humans is what I'm going to say next. The process is different than you think. We have established first, it's not linear. That it is a conceptual attribute that you cannot plan on, and the timing is not known, and you cannot post a goal on your refrigerator. So it requires the human being in faith with no clock. That's number one. We've established that the information comes from that which is a lot of you on the other side of the veil, because you cannot hold all the mastery that you have in the corporeal body. And you are part of the creative source and always will be. Part of you is on my side of the veil. It's the part that talks to you intuitively that says, go left, go right, stand up, sit down, go over there and meet that person. Now the next one, it's hard. How do we describe it? Got 7 billion souls on the planet. And they all have the same attribute as you do. All of them. And they're all on the other side of the veil as well as being here. All of them. And they're all talking at the same time and broadcasting things. But they broadcast them. These things they're broadcasting with the mind of God because they're on my side of the veil. Are you understanding this? So if they have a corporeal self which is completely and totally unaware and has no radio, it doesn't make any difference. They're still broadcasting what's going on from the eye in the sky. And that means you can listen to them as well. They're tuned to your frequency. They'll tell you where not to go. They'll tell you things that intuitively will help guide you and help you. Now that you don't understand. Again, in singularity, you're hooked up to one soul, you, right? On my side of the veil, right? No. You're hooked to all of them. And they're all benevolent at the same time. And so therefore, even the soul parts and pieces of complete non-believers are still broadcasting information that will help humanity and you and the ones who are not listening. And you're getting guidance from all. A hard concept. So it's not just for you to be here and there. It's also for you to stay away from here or know what's developing over there. Intuition starts to grow and you become really, really lucky to other human beings. Wow, people say, look at that tragedy they escaped. Why did you leave the building before it fell down? And they will say, I don't know. Something said to go. And they did. And it happens over and over and over and over. Is it possible that the human soul is connected in such a way that it talks to everybody at the same time, and the ones with the radios are picking it up? And they are old souls. What are you supposed to do with this information? Well, we've already covered a little of it. Understand the process and believe it. That's first. Do not get disappointed that the planning is not working. You can't have both, dear ones. You can't have plans in the corner just in case the synchronicity doesn't show. Because you'll void the synchronicity if you do it. Do you see that? Second one, Understand that synchronicity may take you to a place you didn't plan on. Is it okay? And the old soul will sit in the chair will say, yes, it's okay, anything. Really? Really? Because humans like it their way. You get pushed and pulled to uncomfortable situations and places. Can you honor where you are and say, it is well with me. This is where I know I'm supposed to be here because this is where synchronicity placed me. And you can feel the love of God surge through your brain and your heart and all the cells of your body when you say that. Thank you, God, you say, for putting me in the right place at the right time. Let me tell you something. Your goal will never be accomplished. Is that okay? You'll always be in motion. Always. There'll always be the ladder to climb in knowledge, in awareness, in energy. New things coming your way, always. To the moment when you take your last breath, you will never have arrived. And you don't like that either, do you? You want to come to a place and say, I made it. This is where I belong and I don't have to work much anymore. Old souls always are working. You have to just throw that away. And it's got to be good enough. Because that's why you're here. Synchronicity can put you in places that are beautiful. It can save your life. It will save your life. It voids all the karmic attributes that have pushed and pulled you forever. It changes the way people think about you because you change. It changes the way you think about others because you're put into places to see who you are. It rearranges that which you believe because you start to have reinforcement of action that is working. And you can stand tall and tell somebody you have no idea where you're going and you're proud of it. And you're healthier than they are. And you're happier than they are. And you love people they won't. You see what I'm saying? This is a change. It's a change in everything that the human being has been taught in 3D. And it's not let go and let God. It is a partnership that's a new arrangement that's conceptual and demands work on your part. Demands it. You've got to change how your brain works. And move into this place where before you leave someplace, you're going to look at it differently than you looked at this one. And you're going to say, if, then, that, I will, help me with it. Expect synchronicity. And if it doesn't come, it wasn't supposed to. Humans are funny. Look at the phrases that everyone in your culture uses. Well, I guess it was supposed to happen. They have no idea. Or the universe had a message for me. They have no idea. That's exactly right. Exactly right. But I've just given you the mechanics of it. It's beautiful. It's for you. Information is being broadcast all the time. Even from the non-believing souls, because they're on my side of the veil and they know this is for you as well. It helps you go from A to B. More than that, it helps you to run into processes and principles and people that have things that are going to marry to your Akash. This is what's new. There's going to be a beginning of a marriage, not just to help humans navigate humanity, but to navigate that which is coming. Setups for the next time around. Now, what do we tell you? The last time we spoke, Akashic inheritance. What you learned this time carries into the next. So the setups you have this time will carry into the next. You'll remember them, and you'll keep going. Today's synchronicity is tomorrow's future. It is that important that you start to learn how to use it and to carry it, how to expect it, how to believe in it, and change the way things work for you. It's part of this new teaching that we're saying. It goes beyond the bell-shaped curve which says that in this room there's averages and that there are those who are better and worse at certain kinds of things. No. You can control it. All you have to do is nudge it a little. And it's called synchronicity. And it's not sequestered to you, old soul. Any single human being who wishes to get the radio. And the radio is the acknowledgement of the higher self and the fact that God is inside, a willingness to listen in a way they never have before to a source which is loving and beautiful and will never change. And so it is.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching this. I wanted to tell you this is a little time sensitive.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I want to give you some information today about something that all of you have and that's beginning to change. Through all of the years of the information, of the channeling, of talking about what is coming and how it will affect you, what you can do, the good news of it all, it continues. We have discussed with you that which is your innate. And there are some in the room or listening who can't really identify what the word really means. What is innate? I think it stemmed from the idea that innately you ought to be able to do certain things, but you can't. So innate has been the name given for your smart body. So the idea is that there is you, and then there is the you within you, which is smarter than you are. It's called innate, and you access it through many processes through the years. One, which is most popular, is kinesiology, called muscle testing. There are others which literally interview the innate. Now, the innate, the smart body, we have told you is connected to things within you and outside you that are grand. It is not a brain function at all, and yet the brain must be involved, as it always is. But it involves the pineal. It involves the heart, the triad. The innate is in contact more than you are with your higher self and your Akashic record. That's what makes the innate so smart. You might say it's the instinct that humans don't have that animals do. That is innate. The things that innate is responsible for is grand and great, and the list would surprise you. And that is why there is so much involved today with those and processes to get in touch with innate. The thought that inside you is a smart body that knows that which you don't. Imagine having to ask your body, what are you allergic to? Shouldn't you know that? So you muscle test to find out. That is how far removed you are at this point, human being, from being able to discuss back and forth with the innate. And if you could, what would be the language that you would have from you to the smart body? Let us say you could open a door to it. What would be the language? What would it feel like? I will tell you, dear ones, it is called intuition. Let me paint a picture for you. The child is sitting there,
and is about to touch the stove. Isn't it interesting that the child even wants to touch the stove? The child is on the precipice of a cliff and is about to walk off until it's grabbed by the adult. An animal would never do that. An animal would know about heights and gravity, and it comes with the territory of life with an animal. An animal would not touch a hot stove, even if it didn't know it was a stove. It senses the heat, it tells them to stay away, but not the human baby. It comes in completely clueless of some of the things that innate would give it if it was in touch with it. So the child touches the stove. There's a small burn on the finger. And inside the child's brain, there is activity that is forever. Synapse, neurons, complex growth that occurs that will etch into the child's brain, don't touch a stove. And it's going to be there all its life. That's profound if you think about it. One action of burning your finger will last forever in your lifetime. Then the child passes on, comes back, and wants to touch the stove. There is a disconnect, dear ones, in the human being of what is called instinct in the animal world. You are not receiving the things that you learned in the past life. This is one of the arguments that science would use for the non-existence of past lives. If you had a past life, you should know better, they would say. What they're not understanding at this point is that in the old energy, the human being is not fully functional. We've told you this before. You're operating at approximately 35%. It's starting to grow. But on a scale of 1 to 100, you're only a third of the way there. When it comes to wisdom and balance, intelligence, intellect, there are intellectuals who will argue, and they will say, we can think of anything. I am telling you, no, you can't. You don't know what you don't know. An intellectual will hit the ceiling with what it can think about until this planet starts to grow up. The consciousness is starting to shift and change, and one of the things you're going to look forward to, dear ones, we have talked about before, Akashic remembrance. But more than that, let's talk about how innate is going to be inherited through your Akash. I'm talking about two segments now. One is new children being born on the planet, and the other is what old souls can do on the planet right now if they get out of their box of belief that says they can't. Akashic inheritance, we've used the words before, Akashic remembrance, but you should know the one thing that starts to happen with children, with you, all of you listening, as you start to evolve on this planet, as you are, you're going to receive more intuition. In other words, that language to the innate is going to increase. The smart body is going to start releasing information. The child will not touch the stove. The child will not go near the edge of the cliff. This is important because you're going to start seeing it and you're going to wonder how they knew. I want to take you on a journey. It is the human being today represented, as we often have metaphorically, by a house. You live in this house, human being, and it's beautiful. You make it what you wish. Lovely artwork is on the walls. It's elegant. It's soft. It's where you may have an altar. It may be where you meditate. It's you. It's beautiful. It's where you sleep and where you eat. But at the center of this house, that's always been hidden from you, the core is a room. And in that room is the real human being, the smart one, the innate. And what you do is to live all around the innate. And in that center room, you might say, well, there's got to be some doors into the center of that area. There are. And you start using them. But they don't open outward. You can't pull them towards you. They have to be opened by the smart body within. And a few of them aren't doors at all. They're little holes in the wall. One of them is called kinesiology. You can find certain things out by poking a stick through the hole. And if the stick moves a certain way, you know certain things. All of that intelligence, balance, wisdom of the ages is in that room, and you're poking it with a stick. I want to tell you something. There are big doors to that room that will open, and I want to give you the labels of the doors, because the label of the door will tell you exactly why they're not opening. Let's go to the door called worry. You intellectualize things. You get a shell of worry going in the human body. Your innate will never give you intuition because it blocks it. Worry blocks intuition. Worry blocks intuition. Go to another door. It's called anxiety. It's a relative of worry. Anxiety blocks intuition. Go to another door. Fear. Fear blocks intuition. Do you want to know why the animals can be born on the field and up and running with the herd in hours? You want to know why? They don't have those things. They don't intellectualize. They don't have worry and anxiety. The fear they have is only related to survival. In other words, if an animal had any kind of smart innate, and it does for itself, it's there when it's born. And yours is missing. Because you're so smart. You learn quickly what to worry about, what to be guilty about, and all of the blockades that keep that beautiful, inside, smart body, innate, captured and trapped. Think about this. The innate is connected to the higher self, to the pineal. It knows so much. It has all of your akash. It has all of the wisdom. It's you. It's the core you. It's there. Every single human has it. And you got to poke it with a stick. I want to present the solutions to opening the doors that will let innate get back to you through intuition. Increasing your intuition tenfold so you start understanding what intuition is telling you, where you can expect it, stand by, breathe while it talks to you. Understand it's a power and not a fleeting experience that you wondered what you heard. I want you to take out your eraser and erase the words on the doors. And I want you to smile while you erase worry and anxiety and fear. And suddenly the doors have no labels at all, and you will feel them suddenly start to be opened from the inside. The innate is realizing there's no more blockade. And you will start to be at peace. It is the peaceful human being that has the greatest intuition of all. It is the human who understands who they are, so they don't have to worry, that they understand there is the Creator inside, whatever that means to you. You're part of the system. You belong here. You're not an accident. You start to understand that and feel at peace with it, even smiling with it. And here it comes. The intuition you've been asking for. Turn right, turn left, do this, do that. This is bad for you. This is good for you. This is interrupting you. Change your attitude. Change your food. Change your path. Change your family. That is the intuition that you have prayed for, that every human being wants to hear, the smart body that is connected to all that is. You came in with it. Did you ever wonder why humans don't have the instinctual power that animals do? I just gave you the answer. Too much intellect. Too many things to figure out, to worry about, to analyze. The example, we might have given it 50 times so far. When you leave the room, you'll go to your car. You'll enter the car and start the engine, and you'll drive away. But let me tell you, if this was an example of what you do with your own body, you'd get in your car and you'd have to read the manual of how the engine worked before you stepped on the gas. You want to intellectualize every single motion of the pistons involved. You want to know the pressure ratios and the fluid mechanics of the transmission. And that's what you do with your own lives. You intellectualize yourselves to the degree that innate is trapped. Innate is your best friend. Innate wants to be part of this new age. Dear ones, children are going to be born with greater intuitive power. And that is why they are going to upset the apple cart in the systems, even more than they are now. For that intuition will create wiser decisions than when they were here last. But the old soul, you can do it while you're here. How many of you will drop the box of belief and says you can't? You have to hang on to this. You have to analyze this. You have to know about this. Instead of relaxing, taking a deep breath, and letting those doors fly open. That's what's coming. There'll be different success rates. Some of you will feel it and understand that it works, and then it won't, because you keep shutting the doors. There's something new to worry about. In other words, this is something you're going to learn. It's a process of peace. Dear ones, this is magnificent information for an evolving human race. Magnificent to know that the next time around you won't have to work so hard, the intuition will be there. But also while you're here, it's available. These are solutions for you. You deserve them. It's time. No accident that you're here, and it's going to solve some of the problems you came in with. And that is the message of the day. Let the innate start to be that which you trust more than anything else. That which is connected to your heart, to your pineal, to your brain, in a balanced way that knows the one soul, you. Go from this place differently than you came, in love. And so it is.